On today's episode, we're going to be speaking to a gentleman who has built a 20,000 plus community and also is an R&B expert, Amani Roberts, and who's also based in Las Vegas. Welcome to the show, Amani.
Thank you very much, Matthew. Appreciate it, and I'm happy to be here.
I'm so looking forward to this. I'm going to start off asking the question that I ask everybody is, do you have a favorite wedding moment from the past that sticks in your mind that stands out a little bit?
So one that stands out to me is it was a bunch of years ago, and I think what happened is that if you know the song by Ella May, "Booed Up," and I was playing that song per request from the bride and groom, and I put it on, and I just let it breathe, and I was so surprised that the entire wedding kind of came and circled the dance floor and were singing along to the song for like a good 2 minutes. And that's when I realized that that's a classic song there. That's going to become a classic song. And that was just one of my favorite moments because it was very unexpected. It was cool. I got goosebumps. And that's what comes to mind right away.
That's awesome. So you have everybody around. You know what my next question is going to be is what's the song that you play after that?
Well, thankfully, after that, it was time to cut the cake. So I didn't have to play a song. So that was good there. And then I think and then they wanted to do a line dance. So I think it was either Electric Slide or the Wobble. So they wanted to come back from the cake cutting time with a line dance. And that's what helped then from there. Yeah.
That's awesome. So before we go into some of the questions that I have, can you just tell everybody a little bit about you?
Yes, yes. So, my name's Amani, also known as DJ Amro. Amani Experience on socials, and I've been a DJ for almost 20 years. Grew up in the Washington D.C. area. Lived in various cities across the U.S. like D.C., Atlanta, Chicago, Dallas, Miami, L.A., and Vegas. And I've written 2 books. And I love pancakes.
I love that reminds me of the song by Jason Mraz, "Pancakes and Butter." He released.
Oh, there you go.
You'll
Good
have to check
call.
that
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
So in our conversations before we came on, you mentioned that BPM is just as vital as lyrics. How do you use that to shift the mood when you're trying to change the vibe with the people that are there?
BPM. I like to kind of take people on a little bit of a journey from maybe mid tempo, like you're in the 90s, and then maybe, we'll speed up and go from 90s to about 110, then we get to 120, then maybe we bring it back down and we work our way back. So I like to take people on that BPM journey. They probably don't even realize it, but instead of kind of hopping around, just because it's fun to build the momentum and build the energy.
I totally agree. And exactly what you're saying, people can't dance at 120 BPM for 4 hours.
For too long, no, they can't. They would be tired. They would be burned out.
Yep, yep. Let's get into your book a little bit. It's all about R&B groups. What's one R&B group song that is your secret weapon?
My secret weapon for an R&B group song, I like "Outstanding" by the Gap Band. I can't just think of one, but "Outstanding" by the Gap Band works. That's like mid-90s. I like "I'm So Into You," SWV. And then we have the classic. You have "September" by Earth, Wind& and Fire. That's the classic there. That works every time.
Yeah, speaking of SWV, I love Human Nature, their mix of that as
Yeah.
a cocktail or dinner song.
Mhm. Yeah,
Great
yeah,
sing-along.
yeah.
So when you're handling massive do not playlists, that's really common today. How do you deal with those without killing the energy of the room?
Yeah, it's interesting because those lists get longer and longer. Artists on the list get longer and longer. So just try to find similar songs in terms of feeling, BPM, vibe that we can play that are recognizable that people can sing along to or will notice and get them to the dance floor. But sometimes you have to dig really deep. But if you do enough research and you get the no playlist in advance time, you can kind of plan around and say, okay, I'm going to use this song as kind of an anchor and try this song here and there. And just takes a little more research and just experience to know what you can kind of call on if you really need to kind of pull out a banger, as we say.
And I think that too, watching the age groups of the crowd, Outstanding is a great song, but maybe if the crowd is 22 may not know that song, but maybe their parents grew up in the 90s. So Tevin Campbell's popular because they grew up with their parents. So yeah, it's always knowing your music. I've always said music knowledge is the most important asset of a DJ.
Yeah, I agree completely. Yeah, love Tevin Campbell. Can we talk? Can we? Great song.
You call yourself a fractional artist manager. What exactly is that?
So what that means is that I will help musicians and artists who are looking to make better business decisions, make more money. And I do it on a fractional basis where instead of having a full-time manager, I might be like a fractional manager, not 100%, maybe 30, 40% of the time. I do it through education. So educating the artist on the music business, what they need to do to earn more money, how they can promote themselves better, build a business. And that's what I focus on.
Do you do that for musicians? Can you do that also for DJs as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. Musician. I consider DJs musicians. Someone asked me the other day, what instruments do you play? I say, well, first I play the turntables. That's an instrument. So yes, there's that question. DJs, singers, even people who have bands, all those people that are related.
So since you offer this awesome service, I have to ask, what's one lesson or one tip that you would give to every wedding DJ that they need to hear?
That they need to network. People aren't just going to find you from starting a website and a social media account. They might see you, but you need to build relationships with wedding planners, with venues so that they can refer you. Word of mouth is probably going to be your most powerful referral source. So get out and network right away and just try to be of service. Don't ask for something right away.
Even other DJs, I'm surprised in markets where the DJs don't even collaborate.
Yeah.
If a DJ is booked already, that's a fantastic source for
Mhm.
new more business.
Yeah, I agree. I think, old school like DJs, it was very competitive. It was a little bit of the scarcity mindset. So if you can kind of flip that and be a little bit more abundant and sharing, I think you're going to get further in the long run. I understand how it's hard because we're all competing for these gigs, but in some places like a Vegas, there's enough work out there for all of us. So just be open to sharing and referring and talking.
Yeah, it's amazing. Over 100 weddings a day on average in Vegas.
Whew. Oh
It's
my
crazy.
goodness.
There's definitely enough work. And then when you consider all of the corporate gigs as
Yes.
well, it's crazy.
It's quite it's like that's one of the attractive points of living here.
And the clubs too.
Yeah, the clubs too. Clubs are changing, but yes, in the clubs.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not going to go on that tangent, but yes, definitely the clubs are changing. So you've built an amazing community of over 23,000 people that, hands down to you. How does a DJ move from being just a vendor to a community leader?
I think for me, it kind of goes back to networking, participating in industry related associations. So I kind of grew up and came up with my DJ business in MPI, Meetings Professionals International. And I was on the board. So then it becomes you're more than just a DJ, you're also my board member. You go on retreats. So it kind of deepens relationships. And of course, you get business, but then you're also kind of working as of service in your industry. Like in the wedding industry, I know WIPA is really big. You have PCMA. I'm trying to think of, there's a couple other associations out there that are catering. NACE. NACE is what I was thinking of. The catering events related. Attend meetings, volunteer on committees, join the board. I think that's one main reason that helped me kind of grow my community. And then I would say the second one would be becoming a thought leader in the space. So more than just a DJ. When I wrote my first book, that really helped. And then writing another book, because then people they're like, oh, you're not just a DJ. You're also writing books about the industry and kind of being an advocate. And then I think the icing on the top would be like also professor. So teaching at the collegiate level, I think those three elements for me personally really kind of helped me grow my community and become more than just a DJ in the space.
It's so funny, and maybe you would agree with this. I could say I've done 1,000 things, but if I wrote a book, it just changes it changes
Yeah.
the.
Yeah, because a lot of people want to write a book, but very few people do it and finish.
So what's an upsell service that actually adds value to couples instead of just feeling like a sales pitch when you're, working with your DJs?
In terms of upsell, I think some of them are quite simple. One would be after the wedding, I'll send you usually a Spotify and a YouTube playlist of every song that was played during the wedding. That's really simple, but they love it because they can go back and listen to the music. It's there. It's a capture in time. They can share it. It's like their post thank you. I think that's a simple upsell that doesn't take you too much work. That can be very impactful. And I love that one.
That's very good. When you are working with DJs, are you creating like an a la carte? Is that you're seeing that as the future? Are you seeing one package, customized packages? How would you direct DJs for that?
Yeah, I would say probably a package offering with the option of some add-ons that are easy to add on, easy for the DJ to execute, but also financially beneficial for the DJ so that they're not they don't have bad feelings about doing that. So I would say that's good. You have your package, and there's a couple extra add-ons that you can do.
I agree because the more options I think that you offer the couples, the more confusion that you have.
Yeah.
Exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
And it has to be easy, like you said. You don't want for uplighting, and then you have to bring 16 uplights that you weren't planning on, and then you have to charge them and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
We were talking about the book. Has being a best-selling author changed how luxury clients treat you?
It has allowed me to increase my fees a bit. I think they're still just as demanding. They still want to meet and they still have the same questions and they still will search for me and other potential options. So it helps with the fees. It makes for a good conversation, especially if if there's a couple who really loves R&B music, then that's an easy entryway and they understand that I get it. So for certain specific couples that love that genre, it makes the selling easier. Others, it's a nice to know, but they still are really particular about what they want for their wedding.
In my background, we always talk about niching down, and I think what's really great is even for you, if a wedding planner has a couple that loves R&B, you're going to be the first DJ that comes to mind because that's your specialty. And I just love that as a business approach, and I'm sure that's really helped you grow your business.
Yeah. Plus, they can tell when we're talking about artists they want to hear and they mention artists, say, what about this song? What about that song? And it just makes the conversation easier. And then, when you're there performing and DJing, they could just tell that you're in your bag, as we say, or whatever. And you kind of, you're just putting one song together with another song and hit after hit. It just makes the experience that much more elevated. Not that I couldn't do traditional weddings with a bunch of genres, but it's just different.
Well, are there any hidden gems I would ask that maybe that are unexpected that are really taking off
Oh, in terms of
in
songs.
songs? Yeah.
In the R&B world, in terms of songs, in Vogue, I think the "What You Gonna Do," that one's really popular because it's like an anthem, particularly female power that works well, which is a little bit surprising, I would say. And then, what else comes to mind? Like, I think even for a ballad, Earth, Wind& and Fire, "Reasons," I think that one is just like chef's kiss. That's a little bit, ooh, that's a good one because people parents will know that one. The kids might know it too because it's so popular, and it crosses over people who are from like, I did a wedding in Alabama, and they loved "Reasons," and you think, "Oh, they love country." No, 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 they love their Earth, Wind& and Fire too. So that's another one. Um Michael Jackson works very well, even his older stuff. Prince, like some of the popular artists, but not maybe their popular songs. So you have like some B-side songs from them, and then we love the Whitney Houston. Just because those, I have nothing, I will always love you, like. But even How Will I Know? That's a good one, and of course the wedding staple. Okay, I know the song. It's like 120 BPM,
Yeah, I want to dance with
but
somebody. Yep.
yes. That was like, you could no matter where you are, that one, just sing along, let it play to the end. Yes, those are some that come to mind.
I have to ask you, just as a side question. Yeah, I talk to a lot of DJs, and one of the things that's happening right now is modern R&B is really not that popular. So even the songs like Kim, or you even mentioned LMA. She has a new album out too. One of my favorite songs is called 100. Are you seeing the new artists having a hard time breaking out too?
For the wedding specific kind of place, it's a little bit tougher for the newer artists. And my opinion, this is my opinion, I think a lot of the songs are not the cleanest, I'll say. So it kind of, you have to get the edited version, which is fine. But kind of the older music, you can just play it, you can sing along. There was a little bit more subtlety to the lyrics. And I think that the newer artists, it's just taking them a little bit longer for the songs to gain traction. But you have artists like a SZA, one of her best songs is like, I Hate You. But that's not really what you want to hear, like a wedding or whatever, like that one. Snooze is a good one. So I just think it's a different kind of vibe. Now, it takes a little digging to find some of the newer R&B artists where they can sing, like Luke James. I think he has a song called I Need You. Brilliant song. That's a good one. You have Leela James. She has a couple songs. So the challenge is that the R&B artists that are newer with the great songs that work at a wedding, you don't hear them very much on the radio or on XM radio. So people aren't as familiar with them yet. It's taking longer for those songs to hit the mainstream and become common. And, that's what I think the issue is. Because remember, this is my opinion, but for a wedding, you kind of have to keep it pretty clean because you have people there of all ages. So it takes a little longer for the songs that work to hit the mainstream to happen. That's a long explanation, but that's my opinion.
No, I agree. Even one of the trending songs right now is Luther with SZA and
Kendrick.
Kendrick
Yeah.
Lamar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I'd be playing them during dinner. It's funny you mentioned Leela James. I love her deep voice. Yeah, she's fantastic.
She's if I could, I would love to make a group of Leela James, her, SZA, and Kehlani. Now I love Kehlani. And I love her song. My favorite song by Kehlani is Honey, but the new song Folded. So that's a perfect example. Folded is a song where there's like 6 or 7 remixes. It's basically clean. It works very well. And that's an example of a song that's going to cross over very quickly and can become a staple because of the remixes. It just blew up very quickly. So that's an example of kind of a song that was going to work very quickly, and we can play that for years to come.
Great talking about R&B here. I don't get to do that very often, so it's pretty cool.
Makes me happy too.
Yeah. Especially the newer people, like exactly what you're saying. It's sad that these guys aren't getting out because there's so much great music. And how many people are listening to the adult R&B charts? It's, few and far between. So
it's different. So as DJs, we have to try to educate the people as best we can.
Tell me a little bit more about your book.
Yeah, the book, The Quiet Storm, a historical and cultural analysis of the power, passion, and pain of R&B groups, takes a look at the top R&B groups per decade, starting in the 50s all the way to the mid-2000s. And I based the rating of the groups on 4 criteria. One was Grammy nominations and awards, Billboard Hot 100 hits, record sales, and notable performances. So I had my research team, which was made up of mostly my college students. And we went through each decade and picked the top 10. Some decades there are 11. There's also honorable mention per decade. And we just list out all the groups, their history, their Billboard hits, my favorite songs by them, my favorite samples. And we just go through the entire book. That's about 80% of the book. The last 20% is what happened to R&B groups, why did they disappear, and what can happen next. And that's the book.
I love this. You're talking about 1950s. I'm thinking of the Platters.
They're in there. Good call.
Okay. I DJ'd so much in the 90s, so I got to go with Jodeci.
Oh, yes. Jodeci's there. Now, they were the first group that had lyrics that, Jodeci would tell you how it was, but they love them. And so I love Jodeci. Come and Talk to Me. Oh, my favorite song for them is on their first album, You and I. I love that song. You and I. And then Fiendin'. Jodeci's got hit after hit after hit.
So how about we go to the 2010s? Who are some of your favorite R&B artists from the 2010s?
Mid-2000s, like Chris Brown. I love Chris Brown's phenomenal. I know he had issues outside of music, but phenomenal artist. I love Chris Brown. Some of them I mentioned before. Let's see, 2010s. Tank. I like Tank. Great artist. Maybe I Deserve, but he's been going since like the late 90s. So he's another favorite one there. Jagged Edge was still doing well in the 2010s, although they were kind of slowing down a little bit then. I'm trying to think of some more female artists from the 2010s, because Kehlani was kind of popping then.
That's great. And bringing back lots of memories there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming since it's a best-selling book, it's available on Amazon and all the platforms.
Yeah. All the platforms, yeah. pick it up there. Audible, everywhere.
Okay, cool. So you've played all over the world. What's some of the biggest differences between weddings here and other places?
I think weddings here, we're kind of used to them. They're very traditional, very kind of, we have our 4 or 5 hours and that's it. Across the world, weddings are like a whole weekend celebration. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's like a whole weekend celebration. So they're extended. People come from all over the world. Here, it's a little bit more compact, I would say. You just get in, you get your 4 or 5 hours, and we're done. That's the biggest difference. In terms of music, I think the music is very similar in terms of they have the genres of music that they love and you just play it. Just play the music, the people dance. I think across the world, American music still has a huge impact because they still want a lot of like American Western music, so to speak. So yeah, that's kind of my observations. I still have a goal. I want to do a wedding in Brazil. That's what I'm waiting for. That's on my bucket list. So for sure, we'll see. I have maybe my experience will be different in Brazil.
Right. It's funny. I was gonna ask that question because I talked to some cultural DJs, and they always say, just because the couple's from India doesn't mean they want Indian music the whole time. And I appreciate you saying that. That exactly what you said. The Western music, it is creeping into those sets.
Yes, yes, and particularly like they love their hip hop. Like, they will want to hear Kendrick. They want to hear old Drake. Maybe they even wanna go back to the '90s and hear some Wu-Tang Clan, like, you would be shocked. And they have specific songs, and they know the lyrics.
Right. And you have to be careful because I've spoke to some DJs where they're playing Biggie, and if they're young enough, they might not know who he is.
They
Crazy.
don't know who he is, but they know his songs, and they might think if they hear Biggie Juicy that that's the original beat. No, 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 that comes from Mtume. So, just things like that.
We could talk all day about music.
We could I could tell right away. This is great.
I love this. So I have to ask one question about AI. With AI and tech changes right now, what's one human skill DJ should focus on in 2026 besides making connections?
Yeah, I think the human skill that DJ should focus on is like the actual live performance. I think that AI can do a lot of things, but in terms of performing live, being able to read a crowd, being able to get that person that's in the corner that hasn't danced all night, get them to get on the dance floor. I don't think that AI is going to be able to do that. So reading a crowd, live performance, being spontaneous, being authentic. I know AI is progressing very quickly, but I still think that that skill is something that DJs will be able to do because even if you get an AI DJ, people want to see a human. They want to laugh, they want to smile, they want to look at you and see you dancing along and kind of it's just a different type of feeling. So I think that that can be the long-lasting skill that can really help DJs stay relevant.
I'll even take it a little different direction, creating the experiences where AI is just going to do their thing. Um, Somehow you have to talk to those couples and make sure that they're on the dance floor because
Yeah.
everybody will follow.
Yeah, yeah, then that can be hard sometimes, but keep them on the dance floor and try to bring all different age demographics to the dance floor. You have the parents, the grandparents, the kids. So you have the bride, then you have their parents, and then the grandparents, and then underneath the bride you might have kids and kids of their friends, and so 4 different age demographics that you have to bring, and that can be very challenging.
AI isn't, well, I guess it could do face recognition and then see who's on, I don't know.
It can read energy, it can read your heart
Yeah.
rate and things.
Yeah.
But even if someone's heart rate is very fast, what AI might wanna do is continue to keep it fast, but what they might need is now's the perfect time to slow it down because we wanna take them up and down, and so let's see what happens. We'll see. I'm watching.
Yep. You offer a quiz so that way people can see what R&B group matches their personality and who they are. What R&B group are you?
Haha, I think for me, I was cool in the game when I first took it. Cool in the game, collaborating with others, I wanna say. Cool in the game. Did you take it? Did you take the quiz?
I haven't, but I'm going to right after this. So
Okay. Take it after this and tell me who you are. There's 8 different groups so far that you can be. And it follows kind of my philosophy about the 7 keys to unlock your creativity, like collaborate with others, be persistent, resilience, embrace failure. There's 2 others, take creative risks and stay curious. And there's an R&B group that matches each one of those. And I base the questions on that. And that's one of my quote unquote lead magnets to help me grow my community through email. So you give me your email address and you're added. But it was really popular. I needed to create another one too. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So is there anything today that I missed that you wanted to mention?
If there's you actually talked about this earlier, any DJs out there or musicians that maybe are looking to make better business decisions and earn more money, they can go to amaniexperience.com/call and set up a free call with me. And I love to talk and see how I might be able to assist.
Awesome. I was going to mention how they reach out to you. Social media is such a powerful thing right now. Are there any platforms you're recommending them get on?
I've really been focused on YouTube and I focus on LinkedIn. And I think those are 2. Of course, we have to have Instagram. It's good to have TikTok, but those are the 2 that I've been focused on for the last year. I think YouTube currently is like the number 2 search engine. I do think that AI services do scrape content from YouTube to help establish expertise. So I think it's really important. And then LinkedIn, particularly for corporate events, the people that are hiring you have a LinkedIn profile and are active. And I think that platform goes underutilized by many DJs. Now, weddings is a little different, but still people who are getting married are on LinkedIn too. So those are the 2 platforms that I'm really focusing on this year.
I know we're going to have a connection here just because I love those 2 that you gave examples. I even go as far as YouTube because it's not a reel that's gone in a week or a day. It's always there. It's the potential of ending up in search results. And YouTube, people are on there. Like you said, they're using it as searches. It's their TV. So make sure you check out Amani. If you could tell everybody again where they can find you.
Yeah, my website. So it's amaniexperience.com. It's A like Apple, M like Mary, A like Apple, N like Nancy, I experience, one word, .com/call. And also on there, you'll go to amaniexperience.com. You can see links to get the book and just learn more about me.
Fantastic. Well, thanks, Amani, for being on the show today. I really appreciate it. You're definitely a star in the industry, and we'll have to meet up sometime over coffee or whatever, and talk about R&B music. Would love that.
Absolutely. Let's meet up for coffee. I'll bring you a copy of my book, and we can chat.
Sounds great. Fantastic.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Stay tuned for our next episode of the Wedding Songs Podcast. Have a great day.
You're the wedding DJ. You can't spend